even Coach Johnson just said it right there. I mean, we look pretty bad. To be able to come back and be able to put a performance together that you're more proud of. Were we perfect? No. Can we be better? Yeah, and that's kind of the exciting part about it. We still had 12 penalties. We still had too many things. We still gave up way too much field position on special teams. But those are correctable mistakes, and we'll get on those guys. We'll make sure that we get those fixed, and we'll get better from 2 to 3. Now we've got to go on the road and face another top 25 opponent, which we've kind of been focused on the last 4 days, coming out of Sunday. So looking forward to that. I thought the ETSU win was a huge win for us for a lot of reasons. But number one is probably just confidence booster.
Yes, certainly. As you said, the reward for beating a top 10 team is now taking on the number 20 team, Mercer, on the road. The Bulldogs face ranked teams in back-to-back weeks. Just last year, doing it with VMI and ETSU, who were both in the top 20. It also happened in 2017, 2018 as well. So nothing new for the Citadel and this talented Southern Conference to have to face some really good teams in back-to-back weeks. The Bulldogs beat ETSU this past Saturday on that walk-off field goal. We'll now turn our attention to this upcoming Saturday when the Citadel hits the road to take on Mercer, currently ranked 20th in the country, off to a 1-1 start, and off their bye week as well. 2 weeks to prepare for this one coming up on Saturday. We'll look at some film. We'll preview that game on Saturday, talk about the upcoming opponent, and a whole lot more. You can also submit questions for Coach. We'll get to those later on if you're with us in person here at the Sportsbook of Charleston in North Charleston. We'll get to all that and more coming up. It's time for our first break here on the Coaches Show, brought to you by Cutwater Spirits from the Sportsbook of Charleston in North Charleston, all across the Citadel Sports Network.
Your local action store is here to help you get the best sleep of your life. Trained sleep professionals are ready to pair you with the perfect sleep system. Get a Action Sleep Reception Package. Your choice of comfort starting at just $299.99. Plus get 0% interest for 60 months on select Tempur-Pedic.
You got a label this time.
Only in America's
Oh, shit. I got to get that off of there.
Okay.
For better sleep and savings, visit your local action store today.
We do not, but I...
Hello, Charleston. Football is in the air, and what a great time to become a member of the Citadel Football Association. Since 1984, our goal has been to get the greater Charleston community involved in the Citadel football. Alumni, family, and friends are encouraged to help make efforts by promoting and supporting the CFA. Visit our website for more information at cfabulldogs.org or call 953-5123. We look forward to seeing you this season at Johnson Hayes Stadium. Get involved, make a difference, and remember, it's a great day to be a Bulldog.
There's a new team in town, Stoke Chevrolet, Monk's Corner, just off Highway 52. And they're getting you ready for tailgate season. Chevy Silverados and Chevy CCLs, 3-0 Ram trucks and Ford F-150s, Chevy Tahoes, even Ford Escapes and Explorers and Expeditions. You've got to get out to the all-new Stoke Chevrolet for the best deals from the Stoke Chevy team to your driveway. We want to see you driving to the next football game in your new dream car, only from Stoke Chevrolet.
Well, with me tomorrow is RC Building Company. Engineering, design, construction, setting the standard for design, building, and military coverage. RC Building Company has successfully completed hundreds of projects, both large and small. From your corporate office to your largest warehouse, RC Building Company client satisfaction is their number one. View your portfolio at rcbuildingcompany.com. A proud supporter of Citadel Athletics, RC Building Company. The excellence and character of a Citadel man is what the Citadel Foundation is built on. The same foundation and quality is what they strive for at Berlin's. Founded on the simple belief that quality and good taste are timeless. The Berlin collection includes Eaton, Hickey Freeman, Peter Millar, plus many other traditions. Family owned and operated for 4 generations, Berlin's has been outfitting the men of the Citadel since 1883. At 114 King Street with free parking. Berlin'sGlory.com.
There's fine doors and openings. Proudly it's a support staff. Down is so perfectly kept, perfectly covered, perfectly open. This perfection can receive your heart's eager. Down is like carrying doors and respect. She's the princess of Bulldog. With the princess of Christ down, available exclusively at Carriage Door.
Otherwise, we just went and done it.
That's what telling you is we're dealing so much as what it's on background. We never want to do it. experience. They're designed for easy operation and feature control/detachments. Right now, hit zero down under 0% APR for up to 48 months, plus save up to $1,100. Now through September 30th. See us at the USA.com.
If you're on the hunt for a new boat, come see the helpful experts at Steen Enterprises. I'm Adam Steen. We appreciate your business.
The perfect tailgate. All you need are your friends and the 2021 Ford F-150 with the available Pro Power Armor. It's like a motor generator to power your tailgate all day long. Tradition of toughness and innovation to a Ford F-Series. Best-selling truck 44 years straight and counting. Make your day traditions bigger and better season after season. Check out the 2021 Ford F-150 at Carolina Ford. Based on 1977 and 2009 sales.
Oh, the fan club. The fan club.
Back on the Coaches Show, the head coach of the Bulldogs, Coach Brent Thompson, here from the Sportsbook of Charleston in North Charleston. The Coaches Show brought to you by Cutwater Spirits as the Bulldogs get ready to take on Mercer this week on the road. We'll get to our film breakdown in just a moment. You can come out and join us if you want to make the road trip to Georgia and come hang with us at Five Star Stadium for the game Saturday evening. If not, no problem. If you're in the area or anywhere in the world for that matter, you can always listen to the game online or locally, 102.1 FM or 1450 AM, or better yet, you can head over to Johnson Haygood Stadium this Saturday for Bulldogs on the Block. This Saturday for the game itself. Doors open at 3:30. Flash Mob performs at 4. There'll be food trucks and a concert. It's a watch party with a kickoff at 6 p.m. You can watch it there at Johnson Haygood, the Citadel and Mercer, 6 p.m. kickoff. And tickets are only $5, so you can't beat it. $5 tickets for Bulldogs on the Block at Johnson Haygood Stadium this Saturday. And you can get food, some live music, the Bulldogs on the big screen, and everything else going on over there. A lot of fun. Hang out with other Citadel fans and watch the game at the stadium, even when the Bulldogs are away from home this Saturday against Mercer. With that said, the Bulldogs take on Mercer this Saturday. Mercer 1-1 this year. They beat Morehead State 63-13. Loss against Auburn 42-16. Just had an off week, so now 2 weeks to prepare for the Citadel, and we'll get to our film breakdown. But first, Coach, leading into that, I ask that, you know, when you look at certain teams, if you look at an SEC team, they just have a lot of talent out on the field. I'm not saying Mercer does not. They have plenty of ability as well. But when talking to people around the Southern Conference, around college football, everyone always comes back to the same thing, that Mercer, they're just well coached. They're tough to go against. They don't make mistakes. And they're just a tricky matchup. So I know we're going to get to the film, but as you prepare for Mercer, do you see it the same way that, you know, just this coaching staff, they can be tricky to prepare a game to go up against?
Yeah, number one is they know their system, both sides of the ball. I think they do a good job both sides of the ball. Like you said, they don't make a whole lot of mistakes. They're going to keep control of the football. They're going to run the football. And they do a lot of misdirection. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit here, is what their misdirection looks like. What is the key components to their offense? There's a base offense that they've got, and then they've got enough of these adjustable pieces and parts in it that make it a little bit challenging to defend. And anybody to be able to go out there and defend them is difficult. Even Auburn, they struggled early on, but you know, eventually what ends up happening in a lot of those games is you get fatigued, caught up a little bit, and then, you know, the points start to rally out. You just can't keep serve with them, essentially.
Yeah, right.
But these guys do a really good job both sides of the ball, and they do have good personnel. They're in a good position, I think, top to bottom, from a school, from a standpoint of taking football seriously and investing in football. They've done probably one of the best jobs that I've seen, from non-scholarship to all the way up to moving scholarship and really having a chance to compete in the Southern Conference.
Yeah, that's true. And they were one of the better teams in the Southern Conference on paper, and the Bulldogs had their Saturday to take them on. So with that, I hand things off to you as we do a little bit of a film breakdown, and we start with Mercer and their offense from that first game of the season against Phil Sims' alma mater, Morehead State. So take us through what you see with Mercer's offense.
Yeah, not many people know Phil Sims played there, yeah. Okay, so here's what we've got is this is kind of their base, and this is I talked about it in the press conference, but they're a systematic approach. Well, a lot of people don't quite understand what I say when I say systematic approach. And if we get the screen back up here, it's up right there.
There we go.
Okay, systematic approach. So I'm going to take you a little bit a part of their system. Okay, so they look a little bit a lot like us. Okay, it looks like Morehead State's playing a little bit of a 4-3 defense here. Okay, they're going to shift this right here. They're going to shift to an unbalanced set. This is something that Coach has been doing since he was at Furman. He did it all throughout LR. He's going to unbalance you, right? So it's really going to force your defensive line to make a decision. So a lot of teams will go ahead and what we call new offensive center this line, meaning we're going to take this guy now and cover him. Now he's going to become the new center, okay? That guy's going to become the guard. That guy's going to become the tackle, so on and so forth. So depending on how you want to handle, some teams handle it that way, some teams don't. We have heavy formations. Our defense sees it quite a bit. We have heavy formations. Some teams knock us, some teams don't. New offensive center us, some teams don't. But here's a series of plays that you really got to watch. Okay, so number one is the jet sweep. Okay, this is kind of it's a base part of their offense. It's a base part of their system. You notice number 10's coming around here. So number 10, really, he's the guy that's going to leak out and possibility. He's always going to have the option for a boot. So you got to defend against the jet sweep. You got to defend against the boot. And then you got to defend against this. This is kind of more of their bread and butter. This is what they want to do. All the other stuff is window dressing and plays off of it. All right? So they run this zone play right here, and this guy hits this pretty good right here, and you can see what it does to the defense, right? This guy comes back around, that splits that safety right there. This guy's got to come down. He's got to support right here for this because he doesn't know where the ball's going. And the next thing you know, they got the linebacker trapped. All right, the linebacker doesn't know what to do in this situation. All right, and now he gets trapped by the zone blocking scheme that's going on out here. They're caught in a man-to-man situation, and the next thing you know, the running back takes off and he's gone for 60 yards. Let's watch this from the tight angle here. All right, there's that tackle trade, or the guard trades over, it becomes tackle over essentially. All right, and then as I was talking about, so some teams will treat this guy now as the new offensive center. All right, and then they'll kind of adjust everybody from there. Okay, so here's the zone blocking scheme. The linebacker gets caught back inside on the zone blocking scheme. These guys do a really good job up front. They're well coached. They play pretty physical. They're pretty fast. They've got some pretty good athletes up there on the offensive front as well. And there goes the ball. Counter misdirection, safety split, corner's got to stay down because he's got the boot to take care of. He's got to take care of the quarterback on the boot. Next thing you know, the ball's going out. So that's what makes it number one challenging to be able to defend. So I'll show you all the different versions of it here. Okay, no tackle trade, just tight end to the backside on this side. They got two receivers here. Once again, here we go. All right, now, this is just it's a simple kind of what we used to call a gut play, all right? We've got it kind of in our system. We give it to the A-back here, but they give it to their B-back, all right? And all they're doing is they're backside trapping this thing. So once again is they've got nobody holding the boot to the backside, but everybody's going to the jet sweep. So now you've got to be mindful. You've got two wide receivers that are eligible to this side. He becomes a third wide receiver that's eligible in the jet sweep. So you've got to be mindful all of three of these guys to the perimeter, right? Then these guys from here, they've got to have a pretty good idea of where that ball is going. So you got to have a couple guys that are going to play inside and a couple guys that are going to play the perimeter. Otherwise, they'll just come back. If you're not playing the perimeter correctly, they're going to come back and just hand the ball on the jet sweep and have you out leveraged inside and have everybody pinned inside. All right, the ball goes inside and he gets out for a good, solid game. Let's take a look at this. All right, a little bit of a backside trap kind of a play. Here we go. Boom, there it is. Pull the tackle there, pull them around, fake off the jet sweep. And this is a staple of their offense. Jet sweep, hand back. We've got to defend this play. We've got to defend this play effectively. This is another one of their bread and butter plays. Now, as you can see, the linebacker's there to play it. He's just got so much space. You know, he's got all the way from here to here to be able to play it, and he's got a body. There's nobody for him to vice it to. All right, so he's vicing this. This is what we call it. He's going to vice this thing back inside. There's nobody coming from the outside in to be able to get this. All right, it's got to fall all onto the corner. Now the corner's got to be a run support defender here. Now that he knows it's not passed, so everything falls to this guy. There's no different, you know, in a lot of our schemes on defense where it falls to our safeties or it falls to our corners to be able to fold in. All right, you got to be able to make that and get that on the ground right there. Otherwise, it gets out for a pretty good game like it does here. All right, we've seen this before, so here it is. The guard trades over. They go into a heavy set right here. Possibility they knock the front back over. Okay, now this is just power. All right, this is just power. So another thing that this is more of a downhill run scheme, right? So we used to call this power off tackle, right? Power off tackle. Everybody's kind of got it in their system, some form or fashion. The B-back now is going to kick in the line of scrimmage. We've got two really good double teams in here. Here comes your double team there. We're going to go ahead and wrap for the play side linebacker. And there's the B-back right there, or the motion A-back in this case, coming around and fitting back down and inside on the power play. So perimeter right play, trap play back inside, and now they've got a power off tackle play. So they've got everything covered in their base, just their base wing T base offense right here. They got good angles. They're a big angle blocking team. So when we say there's zone teams out there, we run some zone schemes, they run some zone schemes. This is a gap scheme, okay? Everybody's kind of blocking down to their gap, all right? Everybody's blocking down to their gap, and we're going to try to drive guys out of the gap. So they're a good angle gap team right here. Got the double team at the point of attack. There they go. They take 6. They create a new line of scrimmage with him, and then they're able to get a guy back up into this gap. There it is. That guy's got to make the fit. This is the guy that the stress is on right here. All right. Who is that guy? Well, that guy's the safety. All right. You got to get your safety into the run game right here. Can't get the safety in the run game. It falls all the way to the linebacker. Now the linebacker's got to be there to make a play, and your linebacker should make the play on those. Okay, this is the exact same play, just kind of a different way of getting to it. All right, exact same play that they ran earlier. Here you go. Running the zone scheme back to the B-back, fake the jet sweep, come back under. Be mindful of your boot. All right, you got to be mindful of your boot. Here it comes back around. And now it's the same spot. They just do a better job of defending it here a little bit. They're able to vice it back down and inside, but it's still pretty good heavy yard gain right there. So this, I think, is the number one play that they really like to go to. I've seen it quite a bit on them. You see it a little bit in the Auburn game as well. It's a great misdirection play. They've got jet sweep, they got boot, they got zone. And that's a complete series. That's a systematic approach to it right here. All right, I believe they've got a jet sweep coming up here soon. All right, they've got this little shotgun package as well. They make sure that this is a lot of their boots occur off of this. Okay, I put this on here because this is what I showed last week. It's almost the same kind of a play, right? This is an RPO. All right, they're going to fake the fullback in there or possibly hand it to the fullback in there. They're going to get your safety down to support. We got to get the safety into the run game, and they're going to hit this post or the slant right behind them. Same thing ETSU does. Everybody's got a version of it. It's become in vogue a little bit right there, and it makes you think. It really puts a lot of pressure on the safeties. I wanted to just kind of correlate that to what we saw against ETSU last week. Same exact thing that they had against Mars Hill. All right, I believe this may be the jet sweep one here. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so they got the perimeter captured up. Okay, this guy right here misses on the block. He makes him miss, I believe, and gets him in for a touchdown. But as you can see right there, he does a good job. This is one of their best players right here. If they're throwing the ball, they do a good job of getting the ball to him right there. So they're able to score right here just on the jet sweep. And once again, it just comes off of the zone play that we just saw. So the second part of that system was the jet sweep right there. All right, same thing here, tackle trade. There it is. Okay, now here's the play action off of it. Okay, here's the play action off the jet sweep. Now, once again, as I told you, we had to have 3 guys, all right, that have got to be able to at least cover these 3 guys out here. Well, when this guy just flat out beats you right here, they got the safety occupied by this. So the safety's occupied. Well, anytime that you get the safety out of the middle of the field, you want to take a shot at the post. There it is. The wide receiver gains really good leverage back to the inside. Quarterback makes a good throw, and it's a good 70, 80-yard gain right here. Almost stepped right on that official right there. Purely athletic move right here to be able to dodge that guy. Okay, so the next part of it was the play action. There he goes, steps over him. Close call.
Yeah, 12th defender.
Yeah, not really an athlete there. He's rolling around. All right, here we go into the Mercer game. Okay, I just want to show you that there's some things that kind of crossed over here as well. Similar, getting to it a different way, but very, very similar. trying to go ahead and show the jet sweep one way. All right. I believe this guy was supposed to go the other way. I think that guy was going the wrong way. They're all zoning this way, so it looks like the back's zoning the right way with him. Take the jet, all right, and the same thing. We got the gut play going back. So it is a part of it is the staple of their offense. They do a good job even against Auburn. You know, watch Auburn's personnel, they're kind of running out, making sure that they got everything covered out here, getting it cut to the backside of them right there. And of course, the skill level is a little bit different there. Same thing here. Protect it. Trying to get two vertical guys on the safety. Quarterback does a good job of finding a little bit of a seam in there and getting the safety. Now, the safety's getting back to the one high, so he's going to try to take away the post a little bit. All right, so the ball's got to be thrown just a little bit short to be able to get it up and inside, a little bit different than what the Moorhead State look was at. There's the jet sweep. So we crossed over again. All right, same exact thing that we saw at Moorhead. Just doing it against a little bit better competition right here. I thought they do a really good job. I mean, this right here takes work. That's timing. Just watching the hand, the footwork, all the deception that goes into it. That takes a lot of work. We've run some jet sweep here. I've run a little bit in the past. Especially you got this guy running full speed. You want to try to steal that handoff from that quarterback right there. All right, so those are all the, I don't know if the offensive cut-ups didn't come over this time around, but that was all the defensive side. If I can find the offensive side, I'll be able to get them downloaded for you here.
Sure, yeah. We'll look into that as we were breaking down the film here of Mercer and what they've done offensively. And, you know, it's something we debuted last week here in the Coaches Show that we'll do throughout this year, and we've received countless compliments about that segment and how informational it is and interesting. So, I know it may not play great on radio if you're listening. That's why you could head over to YouTube, click on the Citadel Sports YouTube page, and you could watch the video there. You could watch it back. It'll be there archived. Or better yet, just come out and join us in person here at the Sportsbook of Charleston every Wednesday to have a front row seat to the film breakdown. You took us through there some of the things that Mercer likes to do when it comes to some of the, for lack of a better term, the smoke and mirrors. When you defend that, does it come down to discipline, instincts? You know, what's the key to making sure that you do a good job against that type of offense?
A lot of it is discipline. You know, a lot of it is making sure that you got the right gaps fit, making sure that you don't get pushed out of those gaps, and making sure that your eyes are in the right spot, because you got to defend those three phases, right? You got to defend the perimeter, the pass, the trap, the jet, whatever it is. You got to make sure that you're defending all three phases of it. Not a whole lot different than what we do. A little bit more deception than what we do, rather than options.
So the Bulldogs will get ready to take on Mercer this Saturday. We'll continue to break it down. If you're here in person, make sure you submit your questions for Coach. We'll get to that later on as well. And we'll continue to get ready for the game Saturday against Mercer, 6 p.m. kickoff on the road. Again, if you're listening, if you're driving around listening, or if you're listening on one of the apps or online throughout the world, make sure you head over to YouTube and you can find the full video breakdown, or just come out and join us. We'll continue to get ready for the game Saturday against Mercer when we come back and look ahead to this week's opponent, the number 20 team in the country, after the Bulldogs coming off that win against ETSU this past Saturday. We're at the Sportsbook of Charleston in North Charleston, and the Coaches Show brought to you by Cutwater Spirits. We'll have more after this all across the Citadel Sports Network.
Bulldog fan, this is Did you know the Citadel Bakery Foundation is the only way the Citadel raises money for athletic scholarships? Membership includes benefits to all schools at Citadel, but Passover holds a countless student athletes getting the Citadel Library. So give them a call to find out more. 953-1277. That's 953-1277.
The excellence and character of a Citadel man is what the Citadel Foundation is built on. The same foundation and quality is what they strive for at Berlin's. Founded on a simple belief that quality and good taste was the rule.
Turn it down. I was turning it down. I have to make sure. That's all I turned it.
Since 1983, at 114 King Street with free parking, Berlin'sClothing.com.
At South Atlantic Bank, we know what it takes to succeed, managing everything that Carolina has to offer. See, this is our home too. It's way more fun, where we live, work, and play. Our team of banking professionals can help you along with financial needs, ready to help you succeed. South Atlantic Bank, 10 South Atlantic Bank, a proud sponsor of CBS Sports. Visit southatlantic.bank to begin your experience today. Equal Representative member FDIC.
From the beaches to the far reaches of the oil country, when it comes to savings and sales, Jones marks the spot. Rush to Jones Ford and no trusting to save on your next motor brand vehicle. And trust the family with over 100 years of experience to care for your vehicle. At our state-of-the-art service and collision center. When it comes to savings and service, Jones marks the spot. Jones Ford in North Charleston, right from the Borders Arena, just off I-26 at the 209. Visit us online at jonesford.com.
Tomorrow's Possibility Company. Design, construction, sales, manufacturing, building, and locating programs. Possibility Company has successfully completed hundreds of projects with large scale. Office to your largest warehouse, Possibility Company client satisfaction has been the #1. Proud supporter of Citadel Athletics, RC Building Company.
Paris Fine Jewelers in California is proudly introduced Princess of Hearts Diamond. The diamond is shaped perfectly, perfectly curved, perfectly open. These professionals in the scene, so your heart's in there. Diamonds are what Barry's Jewelers knows best. If she's the princess of your heart, honor her with a Princess of Hearts Diamond available exclusively at Barry's Jewelers.
About a minute. Just over a minute.
High-speed internet for only $69.95 per month. That's right, $69.95. And when you sign up for one gig internet from Homes.com, you get free My Wi-Fi stream for life. 1 gig internet plus My Wi-Fi stream means your home is Gig Up certified with fast, protected, reliable broadband, all for just $69.95 per month. How's that for mind blowing? Live life ahead with Homes.com.
30 seconds. Back on the Coaches Show with the head coach of the Bulldogs, Coach Brent Thompson, here at the Sportsbook of Charleston in North Charleston. The Coaches Show brought to you by Cutwater Spirits, and we're out here every week, every Wednesday throughout the Citadel football season, talking Bulldog football. You can come join us in person and have a chance to ask the coach a question. We'll get to that later on. Plus, you'll have a front row seat to the film breakdown, which you can also find on YouTube. Just look up the Citadel Sports YouTube page, and you can watch the Coaches Show live or on demand there as well. And, of course, on radio as well and worldwide through our free apps or the interwebs as well. You can always listen. Now, last segment we were breaking down what Mercer does offensively in preparation of the game Saturday for the Bulldogs on the road against Mercer. Now, let's take a look at what the Citadel did offensively as we go back to this past Saturday and that big win against ETSU that we opened up the show talking about. The Citadel went on that game-winning drive in the final 3 minutes for the walk-off field goal to win 20-17 against ETSU on Saturday. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but, Coach, again, I'll hand things off to you. You can take us through how your offense was able to get down the field for that winning field goal.
All right, so we could first go back, and this is right off the Jumbotron here, but so we could first go back. We ended up here, number one, this is kind of what we've been emphasizing special teams-wise. We really needed to field that punt. It was a shallow punt. It dropped in right around the 20-something yard line. It wasn't inside of our 10-yard line until it rolled. We have an opportunity to be able to field that kick. We've got to field it and create some better field position for ourselves. So at this point, we're in second down here already. First down, we're just trying to get it off our goal line, give us some chance to operate. So here we're thinking, okay, we want to be able to at least get a jump start and try to get going down the field a little bit. So we're going to run one of our option plays out of this. This is our fairly new I-back set. It's a traditional pro personnel kind of alignment. We've got our tight end over here. All right, that's Benny right there. We've just taken one of our A-backs, we broke it into a 2-back set, all right, and then we put Cooper out here as our wide receiver, and Tyler Cherry out here to our backside wide receiver. All right, so on this play right here, all we were thinking was, okay, let's run a veer. We feel pretty confident in it. Number one, it's our number one play. We execute it probably 25 to 30% of the time in practice. This is the one that we need to go to, all right, just to make sure that we can get some good positive yards here. We still got plenty of time on the clock to be able to get a first down and then take a couple chances at the down the field at the end zone. So here we go. All right, this is not just any typical dive play. Like I said, this is a triple option play. As you can see, what's happening right here is we're just going to go ahead and read the end man right here. We're going to read the guy outside of Ben right there, outside of our tight end. He fits just a little bit wide, and this kind of had been happening all game long on this play. We had run this play quite a bit. All right. The backside linebacker, take a look at number 11. Now, number 0 and number 11, they may have had 50 tackles all game long out of the 75 plays. All right, and this is the reason why they've got. Look at how many people are over the top. The same thing that we saw that was happening to Morehead State was these guys all just over pursued the fullback just a bit. So this is what happens with our offense. If you just miss a fit a little bit. Now, the unsung hero here are these two guys. Watch these two guys. They take 17 and they create a new gap. All right. When they create a new gap, it allows the B-back to hug this thing nice and tight. Our guard is pulling around now. Our guard is pulling around for this linebacker. He's going to block the play side to the backside linebacker there. And as he does, the other linebacker over pursues it. He's in such a hurry to get over the top. Why is he in a hurry to get over the top? Well, we're an I-back, so there's nothing tipping him off. There's nothing that's going to slow play him. He's over the top. He's got to win over the top quickly because full flow is taking him that way. So he's got to gain his extra body. Now, Logan does a great job. Part of the reason why I think Logan is be able to do this is, number one, he's fresh. He's actually been able to take a few reps off. He's taken a couple series off. We had Orlando in there a little bit. We had Sammy Lou in there a little bit. All right, so now he actually looks like he can play in the fourth quarter. You want your B-back to play, your starting B-back to play. And the rest is really up to him. He does a really good job of getting into the open field. I'll go back to the wide copy here just so we saw the tight. There he is, cuts it back. There he is. Now, and here he's got a 4 or 5 yard gain, which is kind of what we're planning on. All right, and then the rest is up to him. Does a really good job. Now, Coop does a good job. Tyler, if he does a good job, and this thing probably scores from there. If Tyler would just do a little bit better of a job, Coop does a little bit better of a job, and we get the thing cut off. Well, he outruns that guy. So Tyler's guy is the only guy that's left. Believe it or not, this guy's one of the faster guys on the team. He's probably top 5 or 6. Logan Billings is on the team right now. All right, and he breaks away for a pretty good game. Here it is, back to the tight look at it. Once again, these two guys do a great job. We've got all these guys mashed in here. We got the right guard pulling around, does a really good job right there. Bryson Jones pulls around in there. Backside backer over pursues. Safety's out here playing pitch. 14's out here playing pitch. All right, and we got to get down into the gap. All right. So here's the next critical play right here, all right? We're in a similar set. Personnel is exactly the same. We just took our A back now. That's Cooper up top, and that's Tyler Cherry back down on the inside. So same thing there. All we really did was we just exchanged one play for the next, okay? So on the last play that we saw, these two linebackers, they over-pursued everything, okay? So now we've got to be able to counter these two guys, all right? So we've got to get them to step to the fullback. And I showed this play last week as one of our staple plays. It's just a backside trap play. It's a counter trap play looking here. All right, I showed it. This was the first time that we ran it all day long. Probably could have called it a little bit earlier. I'm glad we saved it. All right, but it's just a counter trap play. Everybody thinks that this is a dive play, and that's what we want. We want the whole defense to think it's a dive play. I get yelled at the stands for calling dive plays and everything else. And it's really just a counter trap play here. All right, if you pay attention to what's going on up front, you can see that. All right. Here we go, going to the tight of it. All right, watch these linebackers. That's all they needed right there. We just needed these two linebackers to step up, shift over, all right, and now we've got our tackle right here, and I showed this last week. Terry does a great job right here. Terry Straight does a great job. 93 is doing what he's supposed to do. He's going to try to read this thing and bounce back out. That's the guy that we trap. Our trapper, who's a true freshman right here, Sawyer Whitman, does a good job. traps it, kicks the thing out, and now there's a beautiful crease all the way to the backside, and we've got everybody pinned front side. Now, in critique, I would say to him, we got to get him off. He's got to go. We got to sell option this way. Everybody should be selling option this way. That will take the rest of the perimeter play that way. All right, I'll go back to the wide for you. And now the thing squirts out the back. One thing that's nice about it, this is the way that they've been playing their safety, right? The safety's playing the alley. He's got to play the pitch, okay? These two guys, now they've got to play a little bit of man-to-man coverage because we can still throw the football. We demonstrated. We threw for 85 yards this day. I mean, the Houston Gamblers out here. Next thing you know, we slide the ball to the backside gap. Safety's down out of the gap. Linebackers are there. Now, the last guy's got to make it, just like we saw with Morehead State. He's got to get to the corner. And we're down the field. Now we're in field goal range. All right, and it just took a couple of well-positioned, well-called plays, all right, and well-timed plays. Now, they're extremely well-executed. These guys do a good job. All right, took advantage. We got two guys sandwiched in back here between these two guys, and the ball spits out the backside. All right, and then from here, we just kind of, all we really wanted to do, now this is another, more of a dive kind of a play for us. All right, take care of the football. We think we're in field goal range at this point, but we wanted to get a little bit closer. We ended up getting inside of the 30-yard line, which kind of helped us out right there. But Sammy Lou does a good job of just getting us to a little bit more comfortable position. From here, it was more just about, making sure that we left ourselves in the middle of the field. More of a traditional dive. They pop the gap. Sawyer does a good job, covers the gap up. All right. We've got to get this guy cut off on the backside. We really don't have anybody to get to him unless we can get scooped up for him off the backside. All right, the final series I want to talk about in this play right here, all right, is the same exact play, okay? The same exact play. We window dressed it just a little bit differently. We put the tight end to this side now. We put our wide receiver over there. We knew that if we put the wide receiver over there, we get the corner out. So we try to clear out the backside a little bit of it. Once again, looks like a dive, plays like a trap. All right, and there it is. Now Sammy's got a good seam. Sammy hugged this thing a little bit tighter. He's supposed to hug this thing a little bit tighter off of this back block right here. This guy may not be able to get us, but he just cuts us down right there. But we're at that point, we're well inside of field goal range at about 24 yards. So same exact thing right here. We're just going to go ahead and take the double team this way. Watch our linebackers. Our linebackers get into position for us. This is Cam Maui on this side. You watch what Cam does. Cam's got a little bit of this is a subtle nuance of an offensive line play. Well coached. Tom does a good job with these guys. He does a little bit of a nod step to give us access to this number 0. All right, this little nod right here. Stutter's 44. 44 is playing us on a read technique, all right, meaning that he's just going to mirror whatever our tackle does here. He stepped out. Oh, now he's got to get back into position. By the time he gets back into position, all right, our guard has cut that off. Our tackle has cut that off. And now if we could have just gotten our double team, all right, our double team just back off onto this, we would have been in pretty good shape to be able to spit this thing for a little bit longer as well. All right, and those were the final 3 to 4 plays that got us into position. 2 of these counter trap plays and 1 veer play for us. I thought that would be a cool little nuance to talk about, being that we did talk about the trap play. We window dressed it a little bit different this year. We were in typical spread the year before. Last year, this year we were in a tight end alignment, a pro alignment, two receiver, deuce or duo alignment for us.
Yeah, a heck of a job by the offensive line there in that last sequence.
Kind of neat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Those guys did a really good job.
They sure did, yeah. And Logan Billings, of course, doing the rest of the work, running downfield to get you guys in field goal range for the game winner this past Saturday against ETSU to beat a top 10 team for the conference opening victory. Bulldogs now head to Mercer this week to take on the number 20 team in the country. When we come back, we'll put on the finishing touches to get ready for that. We'll also get to any questions that were submitted for Coach. Final opportunity to do that if you're with us in person here at the Sportsbook of Charleston in North Charleston. And of course, another reminder, if you're listening and you were wondering what exactly we were breaking down, you don't have the visuals, head over to YouTube because it's a great segment that we get to do this year where Coach breaks down the film of the opponent and of the Bulldogs themselves. Go find it on YouTube. Just search Citadel Sports or join us here at the Sportsbook of Charleston. Coach, a show brought to you by Cutwater Spirits. We'll wrap things up with some questions for the head coach when we come back as we get ready for the Citadel and Mercer this Saturday after this on the Citadel Sports Network. want to do a show next week during the off week?
Do you want to do one?
Whatever you want. If you want to take it off, fine with me. Sounds good. Seconds. This is the last one. 30 seconds. Thank you. Second and last one. Okay. Final segment of the Coaches Show with the head coach of the Bulldogs, Coach Brent Thompson, here at the Sportsbook of Charleston in North Charleston, presented by Cutwater Spirits, as the Bulldogs get ready to go on the road and take on Mercer this Saturday, the number 20 team in the country. And if you come out and join us in person each Wednesday night, you have a chance to submit a question for Coach, and we got a lot of them here, a handful. So let's try to rip through these as quickly as we can here in the final 5 minutes we have, starting with this first one, Coach. And I'm sure we could go a lot of different ways, but what lessons do you try to instill at the Citadel versus other teams as a coach?
Well, that's interesting, is there's a lot of lessons there. And there's the number one lesson that I try to teach the guys at our place more than anywhere else is life is hard, life is difficult. All right, if you learn how to deal with hard and difficult now while you're here and while you're young, it'll be a lot easier when you're older. Is face the adversity, don't run away from it, because it's everywhere around you at our place, but it's very, very well controlled. And you can learn a lot from that. And unfortunately, we've made life so easy, not only on ourselves, but on our kids as well. And if we continue to do so, nobody's going to be able to handle adversity, and that's why you see a lot of the problems that we do have right now.
Sarah asks, and you can take this whichever way you want, all time, who's your favorite player?
Ronnie Lott.
Ronnie Lott, okay. I like that. Chris asks, what did we do to have 2 penalties for illegal formation on the punts?
So when we shifted our number one, the one time that we did it, when we shifted our guy from the right to the left, we were trying to disguise our punt a little bit. When we disguised our punt a little bit, we didn't get reset back onto the line of scrimmage. The other one was on a different guy. He was just set too far back in the backfield. And what you've got to understand is we're trying to cheat as far back as we possibly can, so that way we can get as much depth as possible to help to make sure that we don't get any punts blocked.
This question may come from somebody on the Mercer coaching staff. They want to know who's going to start in the offensive line.
Right now we're going to go with the lineup that we went with last week, because we won with that lineup, and I think it's a pretty good one.
Carly asks, what's your favorite play?
It's got to be probably midline triple. It's a triple option play. We start reading from the inside out. We start with the A-gap out. It has probably in the last 5 or 6 years become the most productive play that we've had.
Most important question comes from Tina, and this is a callback to last week, but have your daughters asked you yet what your favorite color is today?
Not yet, and I haven't seen them yet, so I'm waiting on it when I get home.
And they've been waiting too. They want to know. Maybe things have changed today. Chris asks, discuss blocking on the outside on sweeps, etc., now that you can't block below the waist.
Yeah, very challenging. We've got to do climb blocks, stock blocks out there. We do a lot of cross blocking now, which means that we take wide receivers and corners. We try to drag them all across the field. You'll see us more and more trying to be able to create more and more play actions because of the stock blocking rules, the cut blocking rules. They can force, really what's happening now is they can force the ball back inside quickly on the perimeter, which is, it's forcing us to be able to throw it a little bit more and try to do different things with motions and shifts and stock block a little bit better and easier for us.
Jeff asks, can you give some insight into the new uniforms and how they were designed?
Well, the new uniforms really came out, at one time here we had a little bit of an identity crisis here. With the C, we had the Bulldog, we had the State C, and we had everything else. So I wanted to keep it very generic when we didn't have quite the logo that we have right now. Navy blue was in, and it was out. It depended on who you spoke to, whether navy blue was one of your colors or navy blue was not one of your colors. So I said, you know what, I'm going to eliminate it all. We're just going to I got rid of the navy blue face mask, I got rid of the navy blue and the C, and I say, we're going to be very, very generic until we can figure this thing out. So we did that for 3 or 4 years. Now, I didn't really mean for it to go for 4 years that we wore the same uniforms over and over again. What had happened was when COVID hit, we just didn't have an opportunity to get new uniforms. So we had to redesign them this year with the new logo that you're wearing right now with the C that has outline in navy blue. Gave me an opportunity to add the navy blue back in, and I wanted to keep the traditional stripes.
They looked good on Saturday, especially in a win, and we got to just about all the questions. Make sure you come out and join us every Wednesday and submit those questions. We'll get to them at the end of the Coaches Show each and every week. The Citadel, they head to Mercer to take on the Bears this Saturday at 6 p.m. Come out and make the trip to join us and join us there. If not, Bulldogs on the block at Johnson Haygood with gates opening at 3:30 for a watch party at the stadium. And, of course, you can listen anywhere, including here locally, 102.1 FM, 1450 AM. Coach, appreciate the time as always. Wish you the best of luck.
My pleasure.
That's Coach Brent Thompson here from the Sportsbook of Charleston in North Charleston. Coaches Show brought to you by Cutwater Spirits here on the Citadel Sports Network.